Today's fear takes us to the fear of not having enough. I had the opportunity to sit down with Hugo Jimenez. Hugo shares with us his story of how he grew up in El Paso, Texas, and crossing into the border of Mexico to be with his family, and how that early on in his life has shaped his life here today with his family.
My biggest fear for me, growing up, we moved from Chicago to El Paso when I was about 7 years old. My mom met my stepdad when at that time my stepdad was living across the border, and she had to fix his papers, so we lived across the border. And growing up, food was really limited. We had to work just for us to buy our own clothes, our own food. I was about 7, 8 years old when I would we used to fry some little we call them churros. It's like little chips. We would fry them. We would put them inside of a bag, and then we would get a clothes hanger, make it into a little round clothes hanger, and put them in there. Each bag, you'll fill up the whole hanger, and you will go on top. You'll go and ride on the city bus, and with a big jar of hot sauce, and that's what I would sell. I was about 7, 8 years old when I was doing this, and we would go inside the bus, sell them for, at that time it was about 10 cents a bag, and then they'll drop you off the next stop, and then you had to walk all the way back to where you started again. So that's one thing I would do when I was small, or not, I would still be coming to school to El Paso even though I lived across the border, and it was about an hour of travel time. And same thing, I was about 8 years old. We had to jump on the truck to cross the border. From there, I would take a bus that would take me to downtown El Paso, and take another bus that would take me from downtown El Paso to school. And same thing, it's just that I think about this stuff now, and I see my kids, and it's like I can't picture me doing this to my kids. I can't picture me letting them go and doing all this stuff just for them to be able to buy the stuff that they want, or just to get them shoes, and it's something that I had to do at that time because my mom and my dad didn't have money to buy us clothes, nothing like that. So that's the way I would work just to get the stuff, a necessity that I needed. So that's one of my biggest fears, is that I don't want my family, my kids to go through that. So I guess that's the reason that nowadays I just work so much. I'm scared now that's a fear that I don't want to go through that same situation. So now it's like every time they ask me, hey, you want to work? Sure. It's just so there that it's just in me now, that just work now. And I know my wife hates it, but it's just in me. That's the way I was. That's the way I got raised. And I was independent since I was 8 years old. I moved out of my house when I was about 15 years old. Lived with friends, and some of these friends were not good friends, and living in living in a gang life. It's not easy. So it's something I don't want my kids. That's my biggest fear, is my kids going through what I went through when I was small.
Hugo, where do you find the greatest joy?
My greatest joy is waking up every morning and seeing my kids and my wife, and giving them a kiss every morning and giving them a kiss every night. That's my biggest joy, since that's something I didn't have when I was a kid. I didn't have that loving feeling of a parent, so I think that's my biggest joy.
What does real life, mean to you, Hugo?
Well, there's a life away from church and a life with church, and obviously life with church is a lot better. Ever since my wife and kids got closer to church, me and her had problems before we started going to church, and ever since we started, it's like our life has been a lot better. I mean, there's always going to be problems, but our relationship just got better. So real life is a lot better when you have Christ in your life.